Anywhere you go in the world, you can find mysterious beasts roaming the lands. Japan has Kappa, Mexico has chupacabras, Scotland has Nessie, and America has a whole fuck ton of them. But there is one cryptid seen more than any of them. If you're sitting there in your chair or wherever you're sitting, watching this video, thinking that the cryptid I'm going to be talking about is one with some pretty big fucking feet, I have great news. You are sorely mistaken. Bigfoot may be the big daddy of cryptozoology, but even the ape isn't seen more than the creature I'm talking about today. Picture the scene. You're walking through a dense forest when you see what seems to be a wolf standing in front of you. You stand there motionless, waiting to see if you should stand your ground or hightail it out of there. But while you're busy planning your next action, the wolf throws all of your plans out the window by standing up on its hind legs. It then flashes a sharp, toothy smile, staring at you the entire time, sending shivers down your spine. The thought crosses your mind of, why did I have to die in Michigan of all places when it hits you? What you're staring at can only be one thing: the Michigan Dogman.
A song to you, fair state of mind. Michigan, my Michigan.
In order to talk about the Dogman, we have to talk about dogmen. Dogmen, or cynocephalus, have been seen and talked about for a very long time. Cynocephalus, according to Merriam-Webster, is a dog-headed being. I won't get into any specifics about things indirectly related to the Dogman we're talking about today, because they could become videos on their own. These dog-headed beings are typically seen in Asia, Africa, the Middle East, and Europe. The word cynocephalus is derived from two Greek words. The first word is kuon, meaning dog, and the second word is kephale, meaning head. Many historical figures have seen and written about such dogmen. The first earliest writing about these creatures comes from the Greek physician Ctesias. He saw them on his trip to the mountains in India around 400 BC. He wrote, and I quote, "On these mountains there live men with the head of a dog, whose clothing is the skin of wild beasts. They speak no language but bark like dogs, and in this manner make themselves understood by each other. All, both men and women, have tails above their hips like dogs, but longer and more hairy. They are just and live longer than any other men, 170, sometimes 200 years." If you know anything about history, you should recognize the name of Alexander the Great. You know, probably the single greatest conqueror in all of history. It literally is right there in the name. That man, Alexander the Great, has claimed that he fought dogmen in India. So far, the dogman seems to be Indian. Not the Native American kind. Christopher Columbus, get the fuck out of here. We don't want you. Keep your European syphilis to yourself, thank you very much. Herodotus, a Greek historian and geographer, has also seen them, but not in India. He claims to have seen them in Libya. Pliny the Elder has even included them in his book, Natural History. I can't wait for Sam Manella to talk about that in his reading of the book. A Chinese Buddhist named Hui Shen even saw them on an island east of China called Fusang when he sailed to it in the year 458 AD. For anyone who wants to know, Fusang can be a mythical world tree or landmass located very far from China in the east. The missionary claimed he went there, but there's no physical evidence the place even existed. Some historians have theorized that it could be eastern Japan or even an area around British Columbia and Canada. Marco Polo, a name you should recognize if you know your history or just a game you would play in the pool, has even seen them as well. He said, and I quote, "And I assure you, all the men of this island of Anjamainan have heads like dogs, and teeth and eyes likewise. In fact, in the face, they're all just like big, mastiff dogs." It gets even wilder than some historical figures seeing some dogmen. According to Mythical Wildlife, some people believe that Saint Christopher of the Christian faith is a dogman himself. He longed to be human and was granted his wish and became a saint for it, I guess. That's not even all of the dogmen out there. There's the Sumerian mythology of Enkidu, Anubis, and any Native American legend about shapeshifters. Dogmen and human-looking dogs have been rooted in history and mythology for what seems like millennia. But why does it feel like this creature is like the other two cryptids I've talked about already? Why does it seem like the dogman doesn't even exist? Maybe describing the features of this beast can help me determine if it exists or not.
But greater song than this is thine, Michigan.
The Dogman is called by many names, like the Michigan Dogman, Werewolf, and the Beast of Bray Road, which is kind of like an entirely different cryptid in Wisconsin. It's close enough, we'll count it as the Dogman. They're both in the Great Lakes region. Based on reports I've read, it can definitely get there fast enough to be seen in both locations. I'm going to get the elephant out of the room. How the fuck are you in my room right now? How did you get in here? Leave. Now that that's taken care of, I can continue telling you about this Dogman. It smiles at people when it stares at them. In almost every account, the Dogman ends up smiling at the person who's staring back at it, which is creepy in its own right, just knowing that a human dog can understand how terrifying a stranger smiling at you can be. It stands at, sometimes even over, 7 feet tall. Its eyes are blue or amber in color. It's bipedal, which means it can walk on 2 legs. It has a canine face with the body of a human male. There's no tits on this dog. It has a howl that sounds like a human scream or even that of a banshee. Legend states that the Dogman comes back every 10 years, but the year has to end in the number 7. That got thrown out of the window pretty fucking quick. There are quite a bit of sightings where that simply just isn't the case. If you do end up seeing Dogman, just start clapping. Apparently clapping can deter it away from attacking you. I feel like that works with just about any animal. You make yourself bigger and louder and the animal will just think you're fucking insane and a crack addict. It doesn't want to fuck around with crackhead energy. Nobody does. The rest of this information comes from a radio show interview with Chet Noir. She's an expert on Dogman and has her own group dedicated to proving that this cryptid and a couple others exist. There's more than one, and they like to hunt in packs. They're like a wolf. You see one Dogman, the rest aren't far behind. Sometimes, they pretend to be a hurt dog on the side of the road. When you get out to check on the dog, it will get up and start limping away somewhere, hoping to lead you to a secluded spot. That's where they ambush you and you die. They also frighten deer on purpose, so they sprint onto the road and get hit by a car, allowing them not to expend energy on the kill. If you hit a deer and totaled your car, don't worry, it was only the Dogman using you for a quick meal, a succulent Chinese meal. Get your hands off my penis! They know we travel the most in the mornings and afternoons, so it's the prime time to send some deer to the vehicular slaughter. This is where the interview took a big turn. Chet Noir has claimed that Dogmen and Big Feet live together, but not in a kind, neighborly way. The Dogmen will kick out the Big Feet from their homes. If a pack of Dogmen and a pack of Big Feet go head to head, the Dogmen are wiping the Big Feet. The reason why Dogmen can beat the Big Daddy of cryptozoology is because Dogmen are very aggressive. Dogmen are seen throughout the entirety of Michigan. Sightings may be focused in one specific area sometimes, but those fuckers travel. The area with the most sightings is the northwestern quadrant of Michigan's Lower Peninsula. One specific location Dogman is claimed to live at is Nartron Field, an abandoned airport near Reed City in northern Michigan. This specific fact is from an episode of Expedition X, a show featuring Josh Gates from Expedition Unknown, sending a team out to investigate ghosts and cryptids. A few other locations the Dogman is typically seen as Traverse City, Cross Village, Big Rapids, and Manistee County. It also spends its time stalking around the banks of the Manistee River. The Dogman is starting to seem a little bit more legit after the description. I mean, it has to be real if someone has this much knowledge about their behavior. I'm still not 100% on believing it yet, but I'm sure the sightings and history of the creature will convince me.
My Michigan, the whisper of the forest tree.
We still have to stay in the past for now, all the way to before the Englishman decided to conquer India. Or, if you understand how geography works, a whole new world. There's a Native American tribe in Wisconsin called the Menominee, who have a legend that talks about a dog-like individual called Manebozo's wolf brother. Manebozo was put on the earth by Keisha Manito, a good spirit created by the great spirit Mosh Manito. Manitos in this folklore are pretty much just any kind of spirit. Manebozo eventually accomplished what he set out to do and set up a wigwam on the shores of a giant lake. The Manitos would give Manebozo a twin brother to keep him company. This twin brother looked like a human being, but could turn into a wolf at any time. Turning into a wolf would be how the brother would hunt for food. With every tale, there's good and evil. Evil Manitos also existed, but they lived underneath the earth. Manebozo would warn his brother about these evil spirits and what they could do. He told his brother to come back home from hunting without ever crossing the lake, no matter what was happening or how convenient it was to do. After a long day of hunting during the winter, the wolf brother was directly across from the wigwam on the other side of the lake, which was now frozen. Not Heeding his brother's advice, he decided to cross the lake to get back home faster. While crossing the frozen lake, the Badmanitos broke through the ice, grabbed him, and destroyed him. Manebozo knew what happened to his brother after he didn't return and mourned for 4 days. When Manebozo would sigh, he would cause the earth to tremble, forming hills and ridges over the earth. Shades of his brother would appear in front of him, and Manebozo would tell him to follow the path of the setting sun. He also told him to become chief of the shades in the hereafter, which I'm assuming is their version of the afterlife. Manebozo would then secrete himself in a large rock by Mackinac, and that was the legend of Manebozo's wolf brother. The Dogman was also around during the time of the Ottawa tribe. I guess it's time to go over the potential sightings of this creature.
The thunder of the inland sea unite in one.
Due to the number of sightings I have found that are historical to this legend, there will be no eyewitness accounts. There are so many reported accounts and sightings that people go over in articles that some random Joe Schmo on Reddit will add nothing useful to my investigation. There's no real sightings before the year of 1880. Michigan, during the 1800s, was the largest source of white pine lumber. This is important to our story because the first people to see the Dogman were lumberjacks. They spent a majority of their time in the wilderness, so anything really strange would definitely scare the actual shit out of their colon. The Dogman would first be seen in Wexford County in the year 1887. Our first appearance of the cycle of the seven decides to rear its horrifying face. Just look at that thing. Absolutely disgusting. 2 lumberjacks saw a large dog stalking around the edge of their worksite. These dumbasses chose to chase this large dog away, making it hide inside a nearby hollow log. They continued using their brains by grabbing a sharp stick and jabbing at the dog. It let out a shriek and jumped out from the inside of the log. This is when the lumberjacks got a good look at this thing. They described what they saw as a creature with a human body and the head of a dog. The next sighting was in 1897, or this event occurs in 1997 depending on what article you're reading. The cycle of the seven continues. Locals would find a dead farmer slumped over his plow with dog-like tracks all around him in the dirt. The Dogman now has one body to his name. In 1907, a lady dreamed of the Dogmen while in her sleep. In the dream, the Dogmen surrounded her house, screaming like banshees. The cycle of 7 strikes once again when the next sighting occurs in 1917. Sheriffs would find an abandoned horse-drawn carriage and dog tracks all around. Near the road were 4 dead horses, all with their eyes wide open. They called the vet, and the vet said all the horses died of fright. The Dogman now has 5 bodies to his name. We got ourselves a good old-fashioned serial killer now, boys. Grab the posse. We're hunting this motherfucker down. The cycle of 7 is now broken once again. We shall rise once more, my cult brethren. The cycle will continue. All praise the 7. Our next sighting takes place in 1936. I feel like Charlie now. We were right there, man! 1937 was right fucking there. This sighting took place in Racine, Wisconsin. A night watchman for the St. Coletta Convent, Mark Shackleman, saw a Dogman and it smelled like death. Still don't know what that smells like. The Dogman was scratching at a Native American burial mound until it saw Mark and decided to run away. He returned later in the afternoon and saw paw prints and claw marks around the mound. One thing struck him as interesting though. 2 of the fingers of the Dogman seemed to be withering away. Maybe the Dogman was trying to get back into his grave before he completely decomposed. Maybe there's some sort of weird zombie activity going on with natives in Wisconsin during the 1930s. Maybe the Dogman is an unpurified soul churning evil trying to get back to his resting place. I don't think that's it. The next night, Mark saw the Dogman scratching away at the same spot he was scratching at the night before. The Dogman saw Mark, but instead of running away, he stood up and spoke to the man, saying the word Gadara. The elephant has re-entered the room, and I need to take care of it once again. So if you can excuse me. Hey elephant, I thought I told you. The elephant is gonna have to stay. The Dogman can speak, and it's not the only time this cryptid is going to speak. Just be prepared, because he will talk to someone once again. Gadara isn't just a random word the Dogman vomited out of his mouth. It actually has a few potential meanings. It could be an Armenian name, a small clan in India, or an ancient city in Jordan during the Hellenistic period, which has a Hebrew translation. That means the Dogman is either Armenian, Indian, or Jewish. Mark, after the Dogman would speak to him, would turn around, walk away, and he never saw this Dogman again. The next sighting would happen to a 17-year-old named Robert Fortney. This either happened in 1937 or 1950 based on what article you read. This sighting occurred in Paris. Not the one in France, the one in Michigan. I guess we now know who is in Paris. Robert Fortney was fishing on the Muskegon River after a day of small game hunting. This was when he was attacked by 5 wild dogs. He took his shotgun, pointed it in the air, and fired a shot. This scared all of them away but one. The remaining wolf proceeded to stand on its hind legs and stared at Robert. Robert even thought the dog was smiling at him. He would fire his shotgun once more, and the creature ran away after the second shot. Another sighting happened in the same year of 1937. A ship captain was told by his crew that they saw giant wolves roaming around the port in Bowers Harbor. Reports of the Dogman that I could not find were reported all across Allegan County during the 1950s. One specific sighting from the 1950s is from the year, you guessed it, 1957. A clergyman exited his chapel to discover claw marks on the top of the church door. Big deal, you think to yourself. It's just a normal dog. Au contraire, my friend. The claw marks were 7 feet up the door. This could only have been done by the Dogman. This sighting showcases how dogmen aren't afraid to approach humans, because somehow the Robert Fortney sighting obviously didn't prove that, and they aren't afraid of Christian religious symbols, probably because the Dogman is Jewish. The next sighting occurs 3 years later in 1961. We just can't stick to a fucking year with the 7 in it, you piece of shit. The sighting occurred at a manufacturing plant in Big Rapids, specifically a large area of wilderness called Hay Marsh. A watchman for the manufacturing plant kept guard from his front porch. His house was in a housing unit across the street from the plant. At 3 a.m., the spooky time, he started hearing some movement by the perimeter fence. He decided to just draw his gun and keep watching out for anything. That's when he saw him. A figure emerged from the darkness, completely covered in fur, taller than a normal human, had broad shoulders, its face was a canine, and he had a long snout. While walking along the fence, it switched from walking on all fours to walking on its hind legs. This is where we get some actual tangible proof. The guard ran into his house to grab his camera he had with him. By the time he came back, the creature was now underneath a street lamp. The guard was actually able to take a picture of the Dogman before it retreated back into the marsh. Here's the picture. Manistee and Cross Village would have the next sightings, which I could not find, in 1967. At this point, you must be thinking, why hasn't anybody done something about this Dogman allegedly attacking people? The reason for that is the Dogman is still relatively unknown. Actually, I should say the Dogman was unknown. One specific person would put the Dogman straight on the cryptid map of America. A disc jockey, Steve Cook, from WTCM-FM in Traverse City, Michigan, would make a song about this Dogman in 1987. He titled the song The Legend. The fun part? He made this song as an April Fool's joke. When Steve Cook made this song, he had no knowledge of a Dogman even existing. He just used old myths and legends from Native Americans. I'm pretty sure the song is copyrighted, so I actually can't play it for you guys, but the link to the song will be in the description. So pause the video here and go listen to it before you continue on with the video. Things will make more sense if you do. I have a lot to say about this song and what the verses are. If Steve Cook never heard about this cryptid, why are a bunch of sightings a part of the lyrics? Do you smell that? That bullshit in the air? If the lyrics to the song are the exact sightings, but he never heard about this legend and made up the song, that means the Dogman sightings aren't fucking true. Newsflash, dummies! If you make an article about the Dogman, don't use sightings that are complete bullshit, especially if the person who made them up has said multiple times they were completely made up. Back to the totally real Dogman, if you shall will. After airing this song, Steve Cook would receive many calls from listeners explaining how they've seen the exact same thing talked about in the song. The string of calls to Cook is actually how people have come to know the Robert Fortney story. That's right, Steve Cook received a call from the man himself to tell him about that one fateful day in 1937. Okay, so that story wasn't immediately bullshit, along with the others I've mentioned that are not verses in the song. Steve Cook even talked to an elder of the Ottawa Chippewa tribe about this creature. The elder told him about skinwalkers who turned into canids and couldn't turn back, making them remain in a canine body. The song would become the most requested song for the station to play. People were enraptured by this fucking thing. Steve would also start selling cassettes of the song and donating all of the proceeds to animal shelters. In total, he has received more than 100 reports about this Dogman. Something else happened in 1987. In Luther, Michigan, somebody called 911 to report an animal attacking their vehicle. When the deputies got to the scene, the driver was missing. His SUV was marked by bite marks and paw prints on the driver's side door. Personally, I think this is just like the majority of sightings I've talked about. Utter dog water. In 1989, the Beast of Bray Road started existing because people were getting attacked by a dog-like creature along Bray Road in Wisconsin. Steve Cook added more verses to the song in 1997. He added them to include a break-in that happened earlier in the year. The culprit, a non-human entity looking strangely like a dog. The break-in happened at Luther. Dogman seems to like Luther. Wait a minute. God damn it, Deadlock. Why are you terrorizing people as a fucking dog human? Elephant, you know what you must do. Sheriff Jeff Chamberlain and DNR officer Ron McCarty were the ones to respond to the break-in. The break-in was at a hunting cabin, and what they saw changed their lives forever. Or probably only for a few seconds. I just wanted to seem like one of the YouTubers who took all of this shit seriously for a second. There were claw marks on the doors and the windows over 6 feet off the ground. The only sign somebody, or something, was there were paw prints all along the ground. We now go to the turn of the millennium. Y2K just happened and nothing changed. In fact, the internet is making everybody actually just brain dead. In 2000, a lady in Battle Creek, Michigan saw it crossing the road at a designated crosswalk. At least the Dogman isn't a jaywalker. I wouldn't know what to do if he was a filthy fucking criminal. By the time the Dogman got to the woods on the other side of the road, it stood up on 2 legs and stared at the lady in the car. In 2003, an author named Linda S. Godfrey would be the first person to correlate the Beast of Bray Road with the Michigan Dogman. A Dogman attacked someone in Troy, Michigan in 2006. A person was driving down the road when a giant dog appeared in front of them. They swerved their vehicle trying to avoid hitting the dog. The vehicle then rolled over off the road. No one was hurt in the crash, and they were able to call OnStar for assistance. And this is the alleged recording of said call.
OnStar emergency. This is Kyle speaking. How can I help you? Hello?
Something just ran in front of us on the road. We're in the ditch. We rolled over.
How many people are in the car, and is anyone injured?
There's 2 of us. I don't think we have any injuries.
Is the car on its top or wheels or what?
No, it's kind of sitting on its side.
Hold one moment, please, while I contact emergency services.
Okay.
Okay, the state police should be on their way in a few minutes. Is everyone still okay?
Yeah, I think we're okay.
What ran in front of you? A deer?
I don't know what the hell it was, but it was big. It looked like a great big dog. Standing up.
Was it a bear, maybe?
Maybe. Oh my God. Oh!
Sir? Hello? Are you still there? Sir?
This recording became really popular. A couple of things happened in 2007. Steve Cook released the legend once again. The most notable thing was the discovery of 2 tapes from the 1970s. Both tapes are known as the Gable film because of a paper tag attached to a box the tape was found in. The box was bought at an estate sale. The Gable film is actual footage of a dogman. One more sighting occurred in 2007. This sighting was in Lowell, Michigan. A man who previously saw the Dogman as a child came face to face with him once more. The man, after hearing some noises on his roof, ran out and saw the Dogman staring at him. That's when the Dogman leapt 30 feet into the air and ran to the tree line by his house just to turn around and stare at the man. The man came prepared though. He was holding a machete and instead of being a scared little bitch, charged at that Dogman. The Dogman said to the man, "Don't," making the man drop the machete and start backing away. It is 100% canon now that the Dogman has the ability to speak. He just never speaks to us commoners. The Dogman would gain more popularity in 2010 by being a part of an episode of Monster Quest. Monster Quest used the footage from the Gable film during the episode, which is also where the film was revealed to be a hoax the entire time. We'll get to who hoaxed it later. Monster Quest claim that they found irregularities in the footage, making it a hoax. The people who faked it claim they told Monster Quest at the beginning, but they wanted to make a good episode, so they just acted like they didn't know. Didn't expect the Dogman controversy, but I guess anything is possible with this fucking shit. A few other pieces of media featured the Dogman during the hiatus he decided to take. A movie was released in 2011 called Dogman. It was created by Richard Brower and starred Larry Joe Campbell. Another show featured it in 2017. The show was called Monsters and Mysteries in America. In 2017, trucker Joe Barger was driving through Manistee National Forest. He was transporting 43,000 pounds of paper from a mill located somewhere in northern Michigan. While driving, he discovered his trailer had an air leak, so he pulled over to fix it. He got underneath his trailer and immediately developed an uneasy feeling. He quickly fixed it and started heading back to the cabin of his truck. That's when he saw what looked like a bear in the woods. He quickly got in and started heading down the road once again. While checking his mirrors to make sure he wasn't about to hit a car while churning, he saw a creature in his right side mirror peering down into his cabin and reaching for the handle of his door. Joe Barger said, "There was a wolf head the size of my window. He was trotting along next to me and I was about 20 to 25 miles per hour at that point. I'm at 9 feet tall in my seat." While fearing for his life, Joe Barger remembered a crucial detail that would defend him from this attack. Joe Barger came fucking strapped. He pulled out his Glock, put it to the Dogman's forehead, and blew his brains all over the concrete. Putting Arn Anderson aside, he actually did have a gun lying on his passenger seat. He grabbed his .45 and shot the creature twice. The creature fell off the truck while Joe continued on ahead. He found a spot on the road to turn the truck around. He wanted to make sure that fucker was dead. He arrived back at the area he shot and couldn't find the Dogman. He was gone, replaced by two people standing outside of their Jeep. He talked to them asking if they saw anything weird. They said all they saw were two bears fighting. This set off some sort of alarm in Joe's head because at that point he started believing there was more than one Dogman. He has gone on record and said this experience was more terrifying than an active combat zone. He also said he started getting nightmares that would come and go for about an entire year. The story gets even fucking crazier at this point. Joe Barger, this innocent trucker from Michigan, claims the federal government is keeping the Dogman a secret. That's right, this whole time the Dogman was a government conspiracy with the lizard people. 3 months after the event with his truck, he was detained by federal authorities. Joe Barger would say, they said, you killed one of our assets, and this is how things are going to go down. This was their property, and they were mad that I killed it. Authorities would threaten him, take his gun, and shut off his bank account entirely. There's one more sighting to talk about, and holy fuck, did it take a long time to get here. Two fishermen saw a Dogman swimming towards their boat. One of the two men thought it was his dog swimming out to them until he noticed the creature was swimming through the water like a person. The two men fended off the creature by using their paddles. Eventually, their battle ended and the creature retreated back. Many YouTubers have channels discussing the Dogman. The channels include Peter Kane's Dog Trading, which is in its own right an insane fucking channel, Dogman Encounters Radio, Scary Stories NYC, and What Lurks Beneath.
Grand Symphony of Michigan, my Michigan.
It's time for everyone's second favorite segment, destroying your dreams by telling you the cryptid you believe in isn't fucking real. I can end this whole discussion with one sentence. All the sightings come from the Steve Cook song. Alright, video's over, goodbye. To be honest with you guys, I don't see a point to debunk this creature any further. But for the sake of the video, I'll make sure to go through potential answers to the Dogman. There are many things people think the Dogman could be. The first two things the Dogman could be are potentially formerly extinct animals. Now, these types of animals do exist, and they are called Lazarus animals. People point to two specific animals. The first one is dire wolves. The first record of dire wolves goes all the way back to over 250,000 years ago. They went extinct over 10,000 years ago. They were around for a long time, but I don't believe they still exist in modern times. The other extinct animal is amphicyonids, or just simply bear dogs. These were carnivorous animals with bear and dog-like features. For the same reason as dire wolves, I don't think the Dogman is this. The Dogman could be just a werewolf or a shapeshifter like a skinwalker. Skinwalkers aren't real because they would have already got my ass based off of how many times I've mentioned them by name. I'm not going to discredit werewolves because that seems like an interesting topic on its own, and I'll save it for that. Sticking to the native explanation, people think the Dogman could be a guardian spirit of the forest. In a few sightings, the Dogman is seen near ancient native sites and burial mounds. This one is actually a semi-decent explanation considering the Native American legend we talked about earlier, but a majority of sightings aren't on ancient sites, so I'm inclined to believe that the Dogman isn't a guardian spirit. There's one more thing that's just plain fucking stupid. Some people have claimed the Dogman is an interdimensional being or a paranormal entity. This doesn't deserve me talking about why it isn't this, so I'm just going to skip to a different one. One of the most reasonable explanations for what the Dogman is just simply wolves from the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. There's over 700 wolves in the Upper Peninsula, which doesn't seem like a lot, but it is increasing every year. Some of these wolves could make the trek south to the areas the Dogman is known to wander. So far, this Dogman is a giant steaming pile of horseshit. Even evidence people think is real is actually a hoax. As mentioned earlier, the Gable film was a hoax created by Mike Agrusa. The video was made with his kids as a joke. He came up with the idea after listening to the song by Steve Cook. Mike would study old 70s home movies to learn the exact style he wanted to film it. He used an old truck and snowmobiles that he owned to give it the old school feel he wanted. When it came time to show the creature, Mike simply wore a ghillie suit and ran at the cameraman, who was his son. In the second part of the film, where it's the police finding the dead bodies, he said he used insulation foam to help make the wounds on the bodies. He also dug holes in the ground to help make the corpses look like they were split in half. There's not even any actual Native American legend talking specifically about a creature with a dog head and a human body. I've already discussed the closest one I could find, but it seems like a stretch to call Mane Bozo's brother a dogman. It also doesn't help that human-animal hybrids weren't a thing when people started seeing the dogman. The first animal-human hybrid was created in a lab in the year 2016 by a team of scientists. And the human-animal hybrid wasn't even human and a dog, it was human and a pig. The government conspiracy angle is honestly just stupid. People who believe it say they use dogmen to fight terrorists in Syria. People are so delusional when it comes to certain conspiracy theories. I can believe that the government has done secret tests on creating human-animal hybrids, but successfully making some and using them to fight in Syria is too far out for me. I'm starting to think that anybody who believes in the dogman is fucking schizo. I don't believe anything I just said is the answer to mysterious dog creatures stalking people at night. All of these answers just seem to be unnecessarily complicated. Occam's razor exists for a reason. The least assumptions I have to make for an explanation is often the explanation for said event. With that in mind, the dogman just seems to be mass hysteria. I know, another cryptid explained away by science, but that's what science is for, isn't it? There are 3 things people do that could contribute to seeing a dogman. It could be all 3 of these things combined, a combination of 2, or just 1. The first is simply misidentification of animals. Some animals people could be seeing are bears, wolverines, wolves, and I'll admit this one is a stretch, coyotes. Bears are the most likely culprit here. They can stand on their hind legs at over 7 feet tall, they're just fucking massive, and under the right lighting can look like a monster from hell itself. Another thing contributing to this legend is pattern recognition. Humans have an uncanny ability to find patterns where no patterns exist. Take the whole 7 years part of the legend into account. There are so many sightings not falling on a year ending in 7, but because of a few notable ones, did people start associating it with the pattern. It also was just stated the dogman did this in the Steve Cook song. People will also start looking for something subconsciously when they first start learning about it. For example, you're somebody talking about 22 being everywhere they look, and now you start seeing 22 everywhere you look. You're subconsciously looking out for patterns of 22, not that your brain is looking for. This is called the Bader-Meinhof phenomenon, or frequency illusion. People are becoming aware of the dogman, and when seeing a bear or other animal in non-perfect lighting, start associating it with the dogman automatically. The third thing is where people's brains are able to fill in details by seeing one small detail. This is called pareidolia. Imagine a texture on a wall that has spots looking like eyes. Your brain will then fill in the rest of the face automatically. Without an actual face being on the texture, you will start seeing a face there. All of these things can contribute to somebody seeing a strange cryptid roaming the forests of Michigan. The dogman, a cryptid seen throughout the years, is more myth than reality. The evidence doesn't lie. From made-up sightings made by a radio DJ for April Fool's Day down to humans' brains filling in details in the dark, the dogman is too easily explained to be a real creature. Be careful trekking through the woods at night. If the dogman doesn't get you, the bears, the wolves, the wolverines, and maybe even the coyotes will get you instead. At least these ones don't speak. Now that the dogman is taken care of and the Melonhead Asylum is behind me, me and the elephant are gonna go get out of here and go watch a wrestling show, if you don't mind. Stay golden, people of the YouTube intro.
Bonus stage!
I found a Reddit comment while doing research on the dogman on the subreddit cryptids. I thought it was funny, so I'm going to read it for you. This is from user Pocket Weasel UK. Profile pictures of weasel in a top hat. Here's my question. Dogman has characteristics of both humans and dogs, right? And if it's biological, there must be females as well as males. So, do female dogmen have 2 big boobs like a human or 8 small boobs like a dog? Are their boobs human or animal? Has anyone ever seen anything about this? I feel it's important. I fucking love the internet. I found this sightings map for dogman sightings in the United States, and as you can see, it shows you points. It doesn't have any like info other than location, the longitude, latitude. Sometimes doesn't even have the date. But if you want to look at how many sightings there are of this thing, I mean, there's 17 down here alone, just in that location. The weird thing, though, is about this whole entire ordeal. First of all, it's across the entire United States, but you can see the localized area. But this is what really trips me out. There's one in fucking Alaska. In 1998? But they have this map, but there's none for anywhere else but America. Like, it just straight up is just Dogman Sightings USA. So if you want to peruse through this, go ahead. There's actually a better map later on in the bonus section that you guys might be more interested in. But this is just a spectrum of where all the sightings are, specifically right in this area. While looking into the Gable film, I found its page on IMDb, because yes, everything has a fucking IMDb, and in it is a review by Transient Dreams. I'm gonna let you guys pause the video and read the review yourself. Now, Transient Dreams, I have researched it, and let me tell you, slowing down the video does not help me see what's going on with the creature's stomach area, nor does it prove to me that the canine teeth weren't the German Shepherd that is shown earlier in the Gable film. Earlier in the film, he shows a German Shepherd that is his dog, so it's reasonable enough to assume that the teeth that is shown in the Gable film at the end is the teeth of his fucking dog. Transient Dreams, get off whatever crack you're smoking and start doing some basic research. Here's that better map I was talking about. So let's click on this one here. It gives a whole explanation and even links to the explanations. So, it's a lot more. For example, the Winnipeg one right here. Description. It actually gives descriptions. This is the better map, simply for the sole fact that it gives you descriptions. It even got layers that you can uncheck and it'll pop off layers. So if you're like, oh, there's 95 here, let me get rid of that, and it'll get rid of a bunch of them. Now, if I go over here to Anchorage, it even has the one that we were talking about earlier. Dogmanencounters.com. Like, it has the whole description. This is why I didn't want to go through and talk about every one, because so many people have seen it. But that's not even where it ends. Again, notice a majority of it is here. But also, there's some down in South America. There's some over in Africa. There's a lot in the UK. It's like in Norwich, and it gives you something to talk about as late as the 1890s. There's one up in Sweden. There's some in Australia. There's one in New Zealand. That'd be crazy if there's one in Antarctica. But yeah, this is a way better map. But as you can see, a majority of sightings are going to be here, and specifically right here along these Great Lakes. But yeah, this is the 1000% better map. The map is going to, the two maps I've shown are going to be leaked in the description down below, so you guys can actually go through and investigate it a little bit better than I did. While making the video for this Dogman, a certain news headline came out that really soiled my day. Apparently, they just brought back direwolves, which of course I just spent time talking about how they don't exist anymore, but now they do, so fuck me. I figured I should talk about them so then you guys can't go up in arms and be like, ha, we caught them. No. You didn't catch me. I'm on top of my fucking game. Colossal Biosciences are the company who remade direwolves. In fact, it's the same company who made the woolly mouse in their attempts to reintroduce the woolly mammoth. They used deft genetic engineering to rewrite the genetic code of gray wolf to best suit what they think the genetic code for a direwolf would be. A domesticated dog was the surrogate mother, and it gave birth to 3 direwolves: Romulus, Remus, and Khaleesi. They won't be reintroduced to the wild just yet. So that means we're still safe. You can read more about the direwolves getting reintroduced from Time magazine itself. So if you want to learn more about this, go there. I'll put a link in the description.
I sing a song of all the best. Michigan, my Michigan. I sing of a state with riches blessed.